If you want to become a project manager, you have to learn how to run meetings. As an active project manager working in medical devices, I have between 7 to 12 meetings that I run, that I host every week. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down my process for how I get ready for meetings. And then towards the end, I'm actually going to share my actual meeting notes that I took at a previous project team meeting, so you can see how this all comes together in a real work environment. So first, what are the main types of meeting that you might be hosting as a project manager? So after doing a little bit of review, it turns out there are only 4 types or 4 categories of meetings that you will be hosting as a project manager. The first one is known as the project team meeting or the weekly team meeting. And this meeting has just really one purpose. It is to make sure that the project is moving forward. It is not a status update meeting. It is not to check what's the status of a specific item. Rather, it is a meeting to meet with the project team, the people that are doing the work, to make sure that the project is moving forward and that you are in that meeting resolving any issues, problem solving, clearing roadblocks for your team, making sure that the team has what they need to keep moving forward. This is the most frequent meeting that you will have on your calendar. This is the one we're actually going to dive into in more detail later on in this video. The second type of meeting you might be hosting as a project manager is the project review meeting or project status meeting. And this might be with your program manager or your portfolio manager. And the purpose of this meeting is to go through the status of the project at a high level, see what's going on, see what issues are there, see how your upper management, like your program manager, portfolio manager, can help out. And they are also just keeping tabs on you as a project manager to make sure that you are getting the project done, you are getting things cleared up for your project and getting things delivered. The third type of meeting you might be hosting as a project manager will be the steering committee meeting, or otherwise known as the steerco meeting. This is a meeting that you'll have with the bosses, with the sponsor, project sponsor, with the director, with senior directors, the VPs. And this is where you are coming together to give a overall high-level update on the project, how things are going, where you need help, where you need to escalate. The fourth type of meeting you might be hosting is known as the ad hoc meeting. So these are meetings that you're going to have ad hoc on the fly for the project to make sure that the project is moving forward, that things are getting done. So this would typically be, let's say during the week, you need help on getting a purchase order approved and you don't want to delay your project. You might set up an ad hoc meeting with a key member of the supplier relations team or the vendor management team to get that PO approved, get that PO moving forward. So these are known as your ad hoc meetings. And typically these ad hoc meetings are, again, the purpose there being to keep your project moving forward. Now, as I said before, in this video, I'm going to be focusing on the project team meeting or the weekly team meeting, but the principles that you're going to learn from how to run or prepare for a project team meeting, those same principles can be applied to any of the other meetings that you might have on your calendar. And the funny thing is, if you can actually nail down the project team meeting, like the weekly team meeting, all your other meetings, like your status update meeting with your manager or your steering committee meeting with your senior level management, those meetings will go much smoother because your team meeting, your weekly team meeting is going smooth. Things are moving forward on your project. And so those other meetings with your other stakeholders, giving them updates on the project, will be good conversations, fun conversations, sharing that, hey, the project is moving well and there are no major issues to report. So let's take a look at a meeting. We're actually going to dissect the meeting a little bit and we're going to look at the anatomy of a meeting. And when we start to dissect it, we're going to notice that there are 4 chunks in any given meeting. There is the pre-frame, there is the prep, there is the actual meeting itself, and then there is the post-meeting deliverables. So we're going to go through each one of these step by step and kind of dissect each one and see what we need to be doing as project managers in each one of these stages of a meeting. So the first part of the meeting is the pre-frame. This is where you are actually scheduling the meeting on Outlook, on the calendar. You're actually scheduling the meeting. You are adding the participants in. You are creating the subject and the description of the meeting, and you're getting the meeting organized to send out. Now, the most important part of the pre-frame is the subject of the meeting itself, because this is what's going to set the tone and expectations for all the people that are going to be invited to the meeting. So typically for a project team meeting, like a weekly team meeting, the subject of the actual invite, I like to keep it pretty straightforward. It's something that's not very threatening. And I will typically do something like Project X weekly meeting or Project X weekly check-in, something like that that's general and also informative about what the meeting is about. So specifically for weekly team meetings, I like to keep it like that. Now for other types of meetings, like the ad hoc meeting, let's say you're having an ad hoc meeting with a stakeholder about a specific issue, about something that didn't get done on the project that it needs to get done. That's where the subject of the meeting invite can be really important, because you don't want the other person who's being invited to the meeting to come on, with their defenses up, with their guards up, because maybe they did something wrong or something, maybe there's an issue and maybe they might be to blame. So you always want to make sure that you're paying attention to the subject of the email itself, so that you come across as non-threatening, and so that the person who's being invited to the meeting, they can have their guards down, they can open up freely, and it's not like you're attacking them. It's rather you're trying to bring everyone together to have a collaborative conversation and remove any obstacles or solve the problems that are at hand. So to summarize, the first part of the meeting, the pre-frame, this is where you're sending out the meeting invite to everybody, where you're paying particular attention to the subject and also to the description. Now, we didn't touch on description, but I'll mention it here briefly. Typically for the project team meeting, like the weekly team meeting, the description, I will leave it high level with just the key points that I want to hit on the calls. So if there's specific things that we're working on, specific items that we're working on, I will list those out, and during the call, we'll actually walk through them. The second part of the meeting is called the prep. So this is where I will get ready for the meeting that's coming up, and I will typically do this a day in advance. And I like to do this a day in advance because during the week, you'll likely be getting updates, things will be happening on your project, things will be getting done. And so you want to make sure when you're prepping for the meeting that you have the latest notes available and latest information available, so that you can have the right conversation, right discussion with your project team. Now, in order for me to actually prep for the team meeting coming up, I like to pull up the notes from the last meeting so that I have all the notes, everything that was discussed last week. I have it in front of me so I can review and see where we are. Now, if this is like the first team meeting you're having, you're obviously not going to have your notes from last week. And so in this scenario, what you would do is you would typically pull up a project charter document or a scope document from before that you've already created for your project, and you would use that as a baseline, as a guideline to guide your conversation in that first team meeting, so that you can start structuring and organizing the work that needs to get done on the project. Now, assuming that you're having weekly team meetings now on your project, you will typically have your meeting notes from the previous week. And so, as I mentioned, I like to bring this up, pull it up the day before the meeting, and then walk through it for myself to understand what did we discuss last week, what did we say was going to get done, and prepare my questions, prepare any follow-ups, so that on the call I'm prepared and I can ask those questions and see what got done, what didn't get done, and what is still pending. Now, this is where I'd like to show you the actual meeting notes that I use for each one of my project team meetings, and I'd like to walk through it with you here. So this here is the weekly team meeting template that I use, and at the top here is the overview of the project and the date that we're meeting, what type of meeting is it, and also I like to include who are the people that are invited to the meeting, the attendees, and during the call I'll actually take attendance and see who attended the meeting and who didn't, so that we can track after the meeting the conversation that we had, who was part of that conversation and who wasn't. Below that, I'll have the agenda, the key discussion topics, and then at the very end I will have when is our next meeting coming up. So that's kind of high level the template that I use for my weekly team meetings. And I will actually walk you through how I structure the actual topics and how I think about them as I'm planning and preparing for my weekly team meeting. So at the top here, I have the deliverable, the scope item that needs to get done. And I'd like to include the start and end date of that scope item so that we can see what date we're targeting to finish. I also like to have the current status. So what is the current status of the overall scope item? Where are we? In which phase are we of the project for this specific item? I'll have any pertinent information like purchase order information. I'd like to track it here and make sure that it's quickly visible in case we need to look it up during the call. Sometimes I also like to have these specific action items, the actual project plan included within the meeting minutes, so people can see exactly what tasks are coming up and what tasks are already completed. I also like to track the risks and issues. So any project will have a certain amount of risk and issues. And so by documenting it here, we're aware of what's going on, what risks might be impacting the project, and we can have conversations around those topics. And then I also like to keep 2 weeks worth of notes for that specific item. So this meeting occurred on June 17th. And so the last meeting notes were on June 11th. And then the notes that I took on June 17th here as well. And so that's kind of how I like to structure my meeting minutes, and specifically for project team meetings like this, so that I can refer back to what did we discuss last week, and then I can take notes on what's going on this week, what's coming up. One of the other benefits of prepping for the meeting like this is if I have my template completely updated with the right dates and the right time and all my notes in there, after the meeting, all I have to do is just clean it up a little bit and hit send. I don't have to think about preparing notes for the meeting after the call. So this actually leads to the next point. So after I'm done prepping, the next logical sequence in the meeting is actually having the meeting itself. And so during the meeting, I will literally open up this template and walk through it with the project team on the call. And so by having this shared on the screen, everyone can see what we're talking about and what we're working on. And then I'll walk through each of the items one by one, starting with the first one on the agenda. And we'll walk through and see what got done, what didn't get done, why didn't it get done, if they're having issues or if they have reasons why they're not able to move forward. Then we'll go deeper into that conversation to make sure that I can help out and solve those problems for them, remove any blocks so that the team is able to continue forward and get the project done. Once we're done discussing what should have happened between last week and this week, we start discussing what needs to happen this week to keep the project moving forward. And so by doing this, we ensure that we are not just looking back, but we are also looking ahead to make sure that our project timeline is intact, that we're not missing any key dates, we're not delayed on any of our specific objectives. And by doing this, we make sure that the project gets done on time. And so once we've gone through all of these specific items on the agenda and we've asked all our questions and we've taken all our notes, then I'll typically open it up to the floor and see if the team members have any questions for me or any questions for anyone else on the call. And if they do, then we'll have that time for discussion. And if there's specific items that we just don't have enough time to cover in that 30-minute or 45-minute or 1-hour meeting, then we'll typically request that we set up a separate call specifically for that item to discuss it in detail and make sure we come to a resolution or a solution for that specific item that we're discussing. And so after the call is done, I will typically still have these notes up and I will just spend a few minutes cleaning them up, making sure I've got the right people assigned to the right tasks, making sure all the formatting and all the spelling is correct, and then I'll send it out to everybody and I'll start setting reminders for myself to follow up with these specific individuals at specific points or specific intervals throughout the week. And so by doing it this way, I save a lot of time in not having to go and specifically create meeting minutes or meeting notes after the call. I actually just do it live with the project team at the same time so that by the end of the call, I have my project notes ready and I can just clean them up, send them out, and I'm done with that task for that day. So there you have it. That's my process for how I prepare for my weekly project meetings. And so if you like this, if you found this helpful, I ask you to please like this video, subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more content around project management and around how you can be successful as a project manager coming out, and I don't want you to miss it. And I want you to be part of my journey. Even though I work as a project manager by day, I'm now working on my YouTube channel at night, and I'd love for you to be part of that journey with me. And just one last thing, if you are serious about becoming a project manager, I actually created something called the Eddie System, which is a training program for people just like yourselves who are looking to become project managers, and not just any old project manager, but six-figure, highly paid project managers. And I have a training and a community of people who are just like you, who are looking to get to the next level. And so if you're interested in becoming a project manager and you want to get that behind the scenes experience of what project managers do and how to manage projects and how to get contracts, then this is the training and community for you. So the link will be below. Take a look, check it out, see if it's right for you. And if nothing else, I'll see you on the next video.